Welcome to another episode of Going Beyond the Scale. If you've never been here before, let me just kind of give you a little background. The idea of this is things about your well-being that are beyond just weighing on a scale. And that might seem a little ironic for somebody that was on Biggest Loser and we lived and died by the scale every week. But what I've learned over the past 10 years since I've been off the show and worked with lots of different people, it's really what I call creating a life that you love and living it well. And it's interesting because today's guest, I'm extremely excited because even though we're not going to be talking about all kinds of things that are specifically what I would say weight loss or the scale or eating or exercise, it's going to be more of probably a conversation about how you're thinking and what will really serve you on your well-being journey. Ironically, I would say to all of you that have this fear of stepping on the scale in the morning and what the number is going to show, one of the things that's unique about today's guest is how would you like to step on a scale and by 1 pound, you actually did not win $250,000. And that's not really the reason why this person was on the show. But a lot of times I think when people were freaking out about numbers and things or whatever, what I love is Sonya Jones, who was on Biggest Losers season 16, who was a finalist. She's such a powerful example of going beyond the scale because her life and what she's done after the show, more importantly, the fact that she is powerfully paying it forward for people that she's supporting on their whatever their well-being journey is. That's why I'm really excited about her being here today. So Sonya, come on.
Hey, Jay.
Hi there. Welcome for being here. Thank you so much for sharing what you've been up to. And as I kind of gave in that introduction, I really do think that, all of us that were on Biggest Loser are doing different things, but I would say, unless I'm mistaken, you seem to have really found kind of the sweet spot for your background, your education, where you came from, your experience on Biggest Loser. And what I love is when I got a chance to really look at what you've been doing with your new facility and what you're doing with the protocols and how you're helping people, I'm extremely excited for you to share with people what you're up to and how it's really impacting not only people where you live, but because of technology and things today, you're able to do this anywhere with anyone in the world. So thank you for being here. So just kind of from your perspective, as we talked about before, you, after the show, you didn't really imagine because of your background and your degrees that this was going to be what you were going to do. But so how did that all kind of come about for you?
Well, it's funny. First of all, thank you for having me. It's always good to be back in touch with the Biggest Loser brother, or sister. So it's great to be with you. So thank you. It's interesting. When I went on the show, I was an elementary PE teacher, track coach, loved it. I was, and I still am that person that says, I get to go to work today. I loved my job. With that being said, I go on the Biggest Loser and I come back and suddenly, you know how it is, everybody wants you to speak about your experience. And so that led me into a time of public speaking. I was approached by a medical group to come on full time and to essentially elevate the brand of HSHS Medical Group and promote health and wellness within our communities. Loved that, had the opportunity. So I walked away from the education field and became an outreach rep. Well, 3.5 years into that job is COVID, and I was furloughed in April of 2020 because it was a right call. It in no means was I upset about that. It was the right call because I was elevating the brand of the medical group within our communities and sharing health and wellness. Well, when your community's shut down, there's no one to go speak to, So I was furloughed in April, kind of saw the writing on the wall and knew that I would be let go in August when those cuts came. And so if I'm being totally honest, what I did when I was terminated was I just spent some time praying and fasting and just kind of saying, hey, God, what's next? And I really felt like the next step was to even go a step forward in paying forward my health and wellness journey. And so you and I both know not everybody can go to the show. Millions of people would apply. But not everyone who could go would want to. It was hard. It was hard work. But what is for everyone is a sense of accomplishment, a sense of setting a goal, going hard after it, and crushing it just to set a new one. And for me, it was really important to be able to pay that forward. So one of the things that I have done is I've opened a standalone ideal protein clinic. It's called Losing It with Sonya Jones. And what I do specifically is I am a coach currently to about 50 to 60 people one-on-one who want to drop weight and who want to get healthy. But it's not just about weight loss. It's about getting healthy body, mind, and spirit. And so that's what I'm doing now, and it's going awesome.
What I love about that was I had a chance. I took a deep dive into your website. I looked at. I know of Ideal Protein. I've never actually taken any or done any of the program, but I know of it. It has a very good reputation. Yeah. And then I also loved the protocol part of it, because what you know and I know. There are many things that can work, but what's critical is the thinking behind it, the support, the coaching, all of that, and really getting somebody to understand that, losing weight is great, but it's not the losing weight. It is the lifestyle. It's the thought process. It's even beyond the word maintenance. I think is a lot of times it's this weird kind of dead word. It's really more. What I love what you were talking about and what you shared is how you are there to help them really transfer that, which is what you've been able to do too. And I think the other part that's important for people to know, one of the reasons why I know that you're successful is you're very open and transparent about your success on the show and what happens. It doesn't matter whether you're on the show or not, when people go on some kind of a program and then all of a sudden they kind of slowly go backwards. What I love, we were talking about the other day, you were talking about where you, after the show, you were able to kind of spend the time to get into what you would call maybe an empowered and sustainable way of whatever that size was for you. And you don't have corn about. So I think that's important for people to really hear. Talk about that a little.
So the last time that most of America saw me, I was 139 pounds on a, in a sports bra, spandex on national TV, 139 pounds. Well, Dr. H told me long before, he said, Sonya, your ideal body weight is about 170 pounds. So here I am, I'm 31 pounds underweight, and I felt horrible. My finale that week leading up to that, I felt terribly because I was so far, underweight. But when most of America saw me, I was 139 pounds. Well, Dr. H was like, looking at your body fat, looking at this, and this, your ideal body weight is 170. And I'm like, man, okay. But as I've gone through it, my happy, livable, sustainable weight is right around 183. And the reason why it's 183 is because that keeps me 100 pounds down from the show, and I can live there and I feel good. I can run 3 miles on my treadmill. I can, I'm strong. I don't care about people getting skinny. I don't care about people being thin. What I care about is them being strong. I want them to be healthy. I want them to love the skin that they're in, which is something that I never experienced until post Biggest Loser. So for me, it was one of those things where through this process with my clinic, we don't look at BMI charts, because literally, if we looked at the BMI chart, I'm supposed to be 120 pounds. You'd have to cut me off from the knees down. I mean, then I walk around on stubs, and then I'm totally not dateable. You know what I mean? It's terrible. So I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. So what I want to do is help people look at where they are in their life. That's their gender, their age, their body structure, and say, okay, you know what? If you're happy at 170, that's our goal weight, and so I think it's really important to get away from what society tells us we should look like, and know and feel the way that we know that we are healthy. Because here's the other thing. I struggle with people who will say things like, oh, I know I'm 400 pounds, but I wouldn't change a thing. Well, okay, but that number alone puts you at greater risk factors for not being with us long term. Sure. It has nothing to do, and I question, because I was that person. I was the person who was 283 pounds on a 5'4" frame, and everything's great. I'm happy. Life is perfect, but inside, man, I hated who I was. And what you have to be really careful about is when you lay your head down at night, when there's no one else around, no one else talking to you, what's going through your mind then? Are you truly happy? Is that a facade? Can you peel back those layers? And let's get to a really healthy conversation about where you really want to be and to get healthy, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the biggest issue, any of us that have ever been morbidly obese, that what ends up happening, it is this whole thing that's happening between our head and what we're thinking. And I think I mentioned to you when I had talked to the executives at NBC to get on Biggest Loser, I told them I was what I called functionally fat. And what I meant by that, I'd go to the gym. I wasn't really doing a lot, but I would attend the gym. I would go there. But I was honestly secret eating, binging, all of that. And I luckily, for whatever reason, didn't have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, whatever. That I had a near fatal heart arrhythmia that they found out on Biggest Loser because of sleep apnea. But what I've found over time is, like what you were saying before, the people that I talked to that really seem to have made a transformation are people that early on, we have a conversation like what it sounds like you've done with your clients. It's about, let's get really honest and real about how you feel. And it's not the idea of what I call body positivity is really, it's really not you're feeling okay with yourself unto yourself, but it's really, are you being honest? Because we all know what it's like when we've had some kind of a health issue or a scare or something.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. All of a sudden, like all that other stuff goes away. You're like, oh my God. So I think there's nothing wrong with us feeling good about wherever we're at. But I think when we're talking about our health and well-being, and we have learned that, I know you've heard the same thing. One thing we've definitely learned with COVID is the fact that people that do have a lot more excess weight have more susceptibility, you know. So I think
the mortality rate is so much higher for people who are obese. That's a fact. That's not an opinion.
Yeah. So you're working with lots of people. I'm guessing, it's not being judgmental, but I'm guessing it tend to be more men or more women than men, probably. I'm guessing. Yeah. I seem to work more with women than men for whatever reason. And one of the things, I don't know if you notice this, I find I really spend a lot of time having women own their success. I find that women have a hard time actually feeling good about whatever that success is. Do you find the same thing happens at times or not?
Well, I think especially in this area, Jay, of health and wellness and especially weight loss, they haven't had a lot of success there. And for me, the reason why I opened this clinic is because I want to help people that desperately need a win in that area. They don't know how to respond to that because they've never felt it. Sure, they've maybe lost 15, 20 pounds, but then to gain it all back. And it's a cycle of defeat that we're so used to. And I tell people all the time, welcome to your last diet. This is the last time. I am partnering with you. We are going to set not just your goal weight, but a trigger weight to where you're like, oh my goodness, if I get 5% over my goal weight, we're going back to phase one for a while. Because, you know, what I want people to recognize is that, man, you know, if I can do this, you can too. And this, you know, so yeah, people have a difficult time owning it, but the reason they do is because a lot of people just haven't tasted it yet. But what I am seeing and what I love about this clinic is when people come through my door, it's the same thing as when I walked off The Biggest Loser. Man, I smiled brighter. You know, my shoulders were higher. And when we have a conversation now, I can look you in the eye. And The Biggest Loser gave me that. And that's what I want to give to the people who I get to work with every single day, because this is an area that's been struggled for a long time. And what you don't realize is it's not just a struggle mentally, but emotionally. It's not fun to go into a room full of people and say, hey, guess what? I was standing in line at Six Flags for the Batman for 2 hours, and I couldn't get on the ride with my son because the seatbelt wouldn't go around me. That's humiliating. You know, you have to wait an extra 15 minutes or an extra hour at, you know, a restaurant because they don't have tables and you don't fit into a booth. That's not fun. So not just are there people who feel defeated, but man, the shame that goes along with that is something that is so difficult to deal with day in and day out and day out. So yeah. So what I want is I want to give people a win in this area because they haven't tasted it.
Yeah, you know, the shame part is it's such a problem, and you know as well as I do that gaining 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15, whatever. But when you start to keep going at 20 and 40, when that happens, most people just go undercover, hide away. And let's face it, if you get a realistic, sustainable number to work with, you really do need to give yourself, whatever that is, you need to give yourself some wiggle room, whether it's 5 or 10 pounds, whatever. Because here's the point: stressors come along, the seasons of the year come along,
vacations.
People are like, I got, Thanksgiving's coming up, I gotta eat like crazy stuff. And I think that's really the part where what we've learned over time. I mean, from my particular season, it's been almost 10 years. I've lived 10 years of life since that time, been around a lot of different people. And what I found was I want to be able to really love my birthday and holidays and other things in different seasons. And I think that's one of the conversations, because people start out with like, I can't. And it's a rubber band. It doesn't work. It snaps back. And it's like, uh-oh, you have a wild event over there.
Yeah, well, it's 3, let's say 90-pound dogs.
But they keep their good exercise, I'm sure. That's So are there some, since you're working with a lot of different people, is there some common thing now that you see that just keeps coming up time and time again? What would that be? Take yourself off of mute.
Sorry about that. I was okay.
Okay, it's okay. We're a dog-friendly show. No problem always.
Do you mean as it relates to like the clinic itself, things that people struggle with?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a whole wide range of people. And I'm just curious, are there some common things
So probably the most common is helping people bridge the gap between am I physically hungry or am I emotionally stressed and want to eat? It is a crazy, as a Biggest Loser contestant, we didn't get to be contestants on the Biggest Loser because we like a little bit of pizza. It's because we have an emotional tie to food. And every time I get mad, happy, angry, sad, I want to go through a drive-through and get 3,000 calories worth of food and drink, And so having people, because I will be honest with you, I really just thought that I had a problem with food. I just thought I liked food. That's why I'm overweight, blah, blah, blah. It's so much more than that. I was embarrassed of my size. I was lonely. I was, sad at times. And so helping people connect the dots between, am I physically hungry? Because physical hunger, you can control. It's okay. I'm going to eat something, and it can be anything, and it satiates me. Emotional hunger is, oh my goodness, I am craving a blizzard right now with extra chocolate, or I want a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts, and you're fixated on that, and I must have that. Well, what that's saying is that there's something that's going on in my life that I need to address, and I need a different outlet than food. Because here's the thing, and I tell people this all the time, food is the good girl's drug. Food is, if I am walking through my office and I am eating a donut, no one looks at Sonya Jones and thinks she has a problem. If I walk through my office and I have a glass plate and I'm sniffing a line of cocaine, people are thinking she has a problem. Well, here's the thing. What you don't know is that if I've had one donut in front of you, I promise you that I've had 4 that you haven't seen, that I've either snuck back to my office, or I have eaten in the bathroom, which is disgusting, because it is a control thing. And what people don't recognize is, when you look at things like meth and cocaine and you look at sugar and flour under a microscope, the properties are very, very similar. And when you look at a scan of your brain, when you are eating a donut, it's the same area that lights up when you're doing, a substance. So to be able to help people bridge the gap between, there is a such thing as being addicted to food, whether people like to agree with it or not. I've lived it, and so helping people understand the difference between, you don't just like food, but you have an emotional tie to it. That's a big thing. That's a really big thing. That's why even in my clinic tonight, after all my sessions this afternoon, one of the things that I'm doing is I have a certified addictions therapist on my who is one of my buddies in the clinic. She's someone who I contract out because she comes in, and what she does is she will she, like, being a certified addictions therapist, really, bridges that gap with people and says, helps people understand the connection there, so that we can work on it. Because through my clinic, what I want to do is create healthy boundaries around food.
That mental part is critical, and like what you said, I think it's amazing how any of us that are secret eaters, you don't want people to see that. I remember when I would go out to eat, when I was at my highest weight of like 435 pounds, I would go out to dinner and I would sit there and I would always order healthy, and people would be like, he must have a horrible metabolism. The poor guy, look at him.
Yeah.
He's eating. He's like, oh my God, this is horrible. Well, it's because I was embarrassed. I didn't want, here's the weird part. I didn't want them to think I was fat.
Right.
Yes. And yet I'm sitting there, and I'm also sitting there at a table because it's like, I'm not able to sit at anything, like a booth.
Sure.
But it's the other part that I think is, so food is, as you know, it's really critical for all of that. At the same extent, the other part that I'm very curious, because you're an athlete, and what is it in what you're doing and sharing, and what's your viewpoint for having a conversation with people about not just exercise, because some people might not want to exercise at all, but movement or whatever. Like, in that, I get the food and I get the thinking, but what's your point of view? What are you sharing with people about movement and exercise?
Honestly, this is what I tell them, and this is probably not a very popular opinion. That if you are exercising to lose weight, stop.
Agreed.
Stop.
Agreed.
Exercise is fantastic for your headspace. It's great for your heart health, but don't do it to lose weight, because it's not going to help you at all. Because let's say I go out and people say, one of the best exercises to lose weight is to run. Okay. It takes a person who's 150 pounds, no matter how fast or slow you go, 150-pound person burns 100 calories doing a mile. All right. So to move your body, a mile is 100 calories if you're 150 pounds. That 150-pound person goes and runs, 5 miles. Awesome. Great job. You've just burned 500 calories. Congratulations.
Yep.
Go through a fast food restaurant, have one sandwich, one medium fry, and we'll even just say a diet soda. Okay. Right. You have just negated everything you did on that run, plus an additional 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've got to get the kitchen right, you've got to get your diet part right. And then if you want to exercise for your heart health, to build strength, to build muscle, to get right here, do it. But don't do it to lose weight. But see, that's hard to say, because what did everybody watch us do? I mean, go so hard that people would throw up. What would people watch? Hours of us exercising, and the exercising is what broke us down to be physically exhausted, to talk about the mental things that were holding us back. Right. Definitely. So with that being said, the mental part of it, it's great. Do it. The cardio part, do it. But if you're doing it to lose weight, not so much.
Yeah, no, it's a big misnomer. One of the things I got to experience where we live, I work sometimes a part-time navigator at our local Y, and there are people, not judgment, it's like people do whatever they need to do. Their drug of choice, sometimes people's drug of choice is food, sometimes it's exercise. Yep. There'd be people at the Y, when we were able to be open, they'd be exercising 3 or 4 hours every day, okay? Yeah. Here's what was weird. The Y shuts down, I'm in my town, and I'm seeing these people that were like, really balls to the wall doing stuff. I'm going, man, they put some weight on. Yeah. And it's because of the fact that, when you shut all that down, so that's where that dance with your thinking, it is that dance, and that's the part of it being sustainable. And it's not an overnight quick fix, dropping a boatload of weight or working out like a maniac or whatever. And I think that's the part that you and I both seen personally for ourselves. Yeah. And then with people that we talk to, that's the conversation that somebody needs to be honest about. And then the other part is, they need to not run away and hide, because here's what's going to happen. I mean, you tell me otherwise, but I don't think I've met people. Everybody that I got to believe that you work with is not going to be perfect. They're going to fall off the wagon.
Yep.
And as long as they stay with you, you
Yep.
know you can help them get through that. But if they hide and go away,
that's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. And a big part of what we do is I make them do, I don't make them, I ask them, well, I do require them to do a food journal. And here's what I tell them. Just be honest with me. Just be honest, because here's the thing. I am the person that has gone to the nutritionist at 280 pounds and been like, oh man, I don't know why I'm gaining weight, because everything that I ate is right here. You know, the things that I ate are right here. And yes, they were right there. But what it was is I didn't write down the additional 3,000 calories that I had consumed. You know, so and I get it, because it's shameful. You don't want to do that. You don't. But a lot of my people felt the same way I do, and that was powerless over food. You know, and so that has really been freeing, you know, to be able to give people a sense of power over something that has held them captive for far too long, you know, because food is food is pleasure. Food is the way that we celebrate. Food is the way that we grieve. Food is the way we build relationships, you know, and so all of that is fantastic if we can create a healthy boundary around food, and also to recognize with every bite that I take, I am making a decision to either heal my body or harm it. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line, because the North American diet is killing us slowly. I was killing myself with a fork, you know.
Well said. Well, with that, how can people best get a hold of you? What would you like them to do? Like, let them know, because this is a conversation. Hopefully somebody's heard something for them that's opened something up. But every time I interview somebody, I want them to take some type of action. So what would you suggest they do if they have heard what you shared and they want to be able to do something?
Well, here's the thing. They can contact me through my website. It's losingitwithsonya.com. Or they can email me at sonya@sonyajones44.com. Either is totally fine. But you know, and I've got email packs and stuff like that. You know, even our emotional eating groups that we facilitate, they are for anyone. You know, we do them in the clinic, but we also do them, you know, via Zoom, so that people can be a part. So yeah, they can contact me that way. It just it really does afford a conversation to get healthy with food. People just feel so powerless over it, and so you know, I mean, it has not been an easy journey, but it's been worth it. You know, probably the thing for me that I think summarizes my weight loss journey probably better than anything. My favorite movie of all time. It's called A League of Their Own, and it's with Tom Hanks. It's at 90s movies, and in this movie, I've seen it 44 times because I'm crazy about the number 44. I will not see it. Yeah, I will not see it a 45th time. Right. Yeah. I won't see it a 45th time, because that would just be wrong in my world. And I was seeing a counselor about that too. But anyway, so here I am, and I'm watching this movie. And in this movie, Tom Hanks is the coach. He's Jimmy Dugan. That's his name. And before Game 7 of the World Series, the best player in the league who is on his team, he comes out, and the rest of his team is loading the bus for Game 7 of the World Series. He looks this way, and his best catcher, his best player, her name's Dottie, is dressed to the nines, and she's loading her suitcase into a car. And he walks over to her and he says, "You going on a little road trip, Dottie?" And she says, "No, Jimmy, I'm not. Bob, her husband, was wounded in the war. He came home last night, and we're going back to Oregon because we want to start a family." And he looks at her and he's like, "You're leaving before Game 7 of the World Series? You're giving up on yourself, on your team, on your dreams?" And she said, "Yeah, Jimmy, I am. This is too much." And he said, "Dottie, don't do that. Don't give up right now." And she looks at him and she says, "Jimmy, It just got too hard. And he gets nose to nose with her. He looks her dead in the eye and he says these words to her. He says, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. And every time I say it, I get goosebumps because
And you gave me goosebumps.
it is hard to lose weight, man. It is hard to keep weight off. It is difficult, but it's also hard to be 283 pounds on a 5'4" frame. It's hard, Jay, to be 200 or 435 pounds like you were. That's hard. We got to choose our hard. And, you know, you can choose to be a victim and sit at a restaurant and order salmon and broccoli and feel like a victim, or you can say, man, I get to do this for my health. It's going to be hard, but you got to choose your hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. You know, the hard's what makes it great.
That's what a powerful way to close the conversation. And here's the point. It's not a closing of the conversation.
Yeah.
Everyone that's watching this, I would really like you to not only reach out to Sonya and see what you can do in connecting with her, but also to friends and family and associates. The whole reason why we do what we do is because we've been given the gift of having an opportunity to make a transformation, and we definitely pay it forward, and we look forward to doing that. So please reach out, take a look at what she's up to, and stay in contact. So it's not a closing. This is an opening and a beginning. And so, Sonya, as always, thank you so much for your generosity of time. I look forward to continuing the conversation because I know you and I are both committed to really, you know, doing this and paying it forward. And the whole point is we're students. We're like everybody else. We're learning all the time. The difference is you need to be able to share it with other people, and that makes a difference in all the world. So
absolutely, it's all about paying it forward. So thank you for the opportunity. It's been great to be here today, and love the opportunity to talk about the show and what we've learned, Biggest Loser and beyond.
Great, thanks again. Okay, have a great day, guys.